I went camping 100 kilometers from any human life. I would have never expected to see anyone else. This camping trip turned into a genuine horror movie when I was visited in the dead of night by a group of rancid people. For context, I live in NT and wanted to get away from everyone, especially my insane family. I did some research on some large open areas and found out that the largest farmland in Australia was Anna Creek Station. Apparently this land is bigger than all of Israel or something. I packed my stuff and drove the 400 kilometers trip in my 4x4 camping rig. Got out there and was feeling good, set up my gear and was ready for my first meal. It was about 9 p.m. when I got tired, decided to go to bed. I sleep in the back of my rig as it's an SUV, 100 series Land Cruiser, and I feel much more comfortable here than if I was in a tent. At around 1 in the morning, I woke up, not sure why. As I was trying to fall asleep again, I started hearing heavy footsteps around my 𝓢𝓞𝓒 in the dirt. They were irregular footsteps. They would take 3 steps in one direction, then 3 steps towards my 𝓢𝓞𝓒, slowly getting closer and closer. I was really regretting having the back windows cracked now. As the footsteps grew closer, they seemed to become more frequent while somehow keeping the same rhythm. 3 steps left, 3 steps forward, 3 steps right, so on. They got closer and closer, and now I was hearing the steps coming from both sides of my 𝓢𝓞𝓒. I'm 100% sure that this was no animal. There's no animals out here that would walk like that. At this point I was shitting bricks and I didn't dare to move or make any noise. Whoever was out there would know for sure there was someone in the vehicle. Who would leave a car out in the middle of nowhere 3 hours drive away from anything? At this point, they are right outside the car. My tinted windows were keeping me from being seen. I hear something scratching on the window right beside me. Sounds like metal on glass. I could barely see out my window, but if there was something there, I would have definitely seen a silhouette at least. Both sides of my window were now being scratched, as well as the back window. Now I know that there are at least 3 people outside, trying to either get in or get me out. I was violently shaking from the terror and the adrenaline. I am usually a fighter when it comes to people messing with me, but something about these people made me go into a flight response. I tried to creep my way into the driver's seat, but as I moved, my knee squished something that made a loud crinkle noise. The scratching stopped on a dime. Everything went completely silent for what felt like hours. Suddenly the most blood-curdling screams were let out all around the car. There was like 7 or 8 of these things outside. Sounded like the scream of a mountain lion, which we don't have here, clearly something else. The scratches and screams on the windows turned into banging. The whole car was swaying side to side as these things were hitting it. They were extremely strong, would probably tip the car if they tried hard enough. I sprung into action and got in the driver's seat and turned on the car. In front of me, hunched over, was what looked like an older man, about 5 feet 10 inches, very pale, dirty, and wore no clothes. He did not have any weapons, but his fingernails were at least 12 centimeters, 5 inches, and very sharp. This was the only part about him that looked unnatural. 6 more of these people ran in front of the car, screaming their heads off, banging on the bonnet. They all looked different, except they were all pale, overly long nails, and no clothes. I threw it in first and peeled off. They were sprinting behind me. The red glow from the taillights made them look devilish. I was reaching 40 kilometers per hour and was barely losing them. I got about 20 km down the rugged path and they were no longer in sight. I stopped the 𝓢𝓞𝓒 to think up what the hell just happened. I was petrified and the adrenaline was long gone. I broke down in tears. I felt safe enough and I was about to head off when I heard a quiet animalistic groan as well as metal on metal coming from the roof of my car. It was then when I realized I had left the sunroof open. I didn't dare to look up.